Hello, everyone. I am What's Gravity.
I am Sarah. Hello.
I'm Doctor. Hello, everyone.
Very roughly, we helped organize Mystery Molden May. There were a lot of people involved, but we kind of handled a lot of the, at least last-minute logistics. We wanted to do kind of a wrap-up video to talk about some of the history of MMM, talk about some of the lore, and also, most importantly, thank a ton of people. First and foremost, I want to thank the Golden Advent Calendar and the people responsible for organizing it, especially Izzy and Plitz. Obviously, the Advent Calendar was a huge inspiration for us, and MMM wouldn't have been possible without Advent paving the way. So a huge thanks for them for putting on such an incredible event. Next, I want to give a huge thanks to all of the people involved with MMM, everybody who did a Golden for it. Egg, Lurian, Ref, Hyper, me, Pig, Liz, Cyber, Dragon, Creepy Cat, A5, Patchy, Undefined, Eddie, Burger Hex, Valk, and a bunch of other people that joined in just for the multi-drops. Thank you all so much. You all put in a ton of hard work. And I also want to give a special shout out to Saray and Jukter for putting in all of the hard work required to get this beautiful lobby done. And then finally, I want to thank everybody who watched throughout this month. Thank you all so much for tuning in. This event was made just so much more fun through everybody's hype and interest. Watching people talk about the event, being hyped about the Goldens that were dropped, or guessing what they thought was going to come up for the next day. It was genuinely just such a joy to watch. I hope everyone had as much fun watching as we did putting the event on. Oh, another thing, if you're curious about anybody else's thoughts on the event, we put together a doc where everybody involved can share what they thought, share deep thoughts about their grind. We're linking it in the description below. I'd encourage you to take a look. I got emotional reading it. I think it's really wholesome. Next, I think we're going to talk a bit about where MMM came from, some of the history, some of the lore.
Almost immediately after the Advent Calendar ended, we were discussing a few things amongst our friends. Around the midway point of the Advent Calendar, there was a long stretch of Goldens that had never been done before. Stuff like Passengers and Heather's Aquarium Folklore and Saucy Sequel. They were really, really interesting Goldens. This was something that at the time we were discussing was something that we could potentially have an event that exclusively focused on uncleared Goldens. We were thinking about exploring Goldens that aren't even that difficult. We just wanted an event to show off cool, unique, and undone Goldens. When we came up with that idea, it was not too long after that I came up with the name Mystery Molden May. Mostly as an idea of a time frame that we could have for the event to be both elaborated, developed, and finished with all of the grinds. Now, that is not exactly how things panned out. While yes, we did have 5 months for almost all of the event to be made, truth is, we kind of didn't lock in until a decent bit into that time frame when What's Gravity got Oblivion Golden. We started to get people making extremely cool grinds just pop out of thin air. We also had people like Egg and Lurian doing multiple Goldens to fill up the schedule even if all of those grinds hadn't finished in time. Which they basically all did. We had extremely few cuts. It was really interesting to see an event where yes, we did have a finished lineup by around early April, but our last Golden happened on May 21st.
Slight procrastination on some of these, I think.
That was not just the case with the Goldens themselves, but also but also everything surrounding the trailer and the aesthetic of the event was also decided quite last minute, and a decent bit of it was in fact handled by me. While the lobby ended up being taken over by Jactor, who will talk about it in a minute.
Like sometime in April, when like grind started closing and it started to become apparent that we actually have like a really cool event in our hand, we wanted to like work a little on the presentation and like convince like the community at large that yes, we actually have like some cool things here. So I think firstly Sarah was the one that like came up with the general detective theming and like the stuff what you saw in the trailer. And then we came up for the idea for the thumbnails sometime in the last week of April, I think. So we had this lobby, and at some point the idea floated around, like, hey, what if after the Goldens are done, we have like a little deco regarding the map, maybe just like a few decals or something. And I think Sarah was like, man, I would love to have like a lobby with style masks and stuff, but like it's the 27th of April and we're not mappers. And then that was when I decided to say like, hey, I know how to do style masks. So fast forward a few days, I made the entrances for Oblivion and Jelly Village first, and everything worked out fine. It was going great. Then I ported some stuff that actually Eddie did for the television tower pedestal. I threw in the style grounds and they did not work. So this was like the 30th of April. We were getting ready to premiere the first Golden of the event, and the style grounds don't work.
You might notice we used extended camera dynamics to make this lobby. I won't go into all the details, but it turns out style masks only work with the default camera size, which means that only things in the upper left of the screen will ever work. So, like April 30th, wow, fun fact, I had a major power outage in my city and had no power in my apartment. I had to figure out how to patch Style Mask Helper to make everything work. And now it does, for this specific camera size and no other ones.
I ended up, besides the entrance for television tower that was mostly Eddie, I did everything else in the lobby, which was a lot of work, but also very fun, and I'm very, very proud. And I'm happy that people seem to like the lobby.
Yeah, this entire lobby was the product of someone being so passionate about a project that they decided, you know what, maybe we're fine with a little bit of overscoping. We tried our best to make it look like everything that happened here was super well planned and well thought out, but we were running against the clock basically the entire event. It was honestly something that I don't think I could ever. It's an experience that will stick with me for life.
Yeah, and once again, I'm like very thankful that other people in the community like saw the effort we were putting in and like humored our little event. Like it was so cool to see everyday people joining in the premieres and participating in our little guessing game, even when it's like completely unfair on half of the days.
Thank you all so much for being a part of this with us. This was incredible. And I hope, again, that the Celeste community keeps on putting events like this on. It is cool to watch. It is cool to be a part of. If you have interest in making something like this, you should do it.
Yes, I will fully echo what Gravity said, because a few months ago, I genuinely felt like I would never be able to be a part of an event of this scope ever, because I simply felt like I lacked the connections to do so. I felt like an outsider in a lot of ways. And then at some point, it's not that it changed, because that was never true. I had I had enough friends and enough talent and enough incredibly talented people that were close enough to me that I was not only able to be a part of an event that was so incredible and so amazing, but to even co-host in the entire thing and have enough influence that I am technically responsible for the event's very name. I urge you, I strongly urge you, if you feel at any point that you want to be a part of something bigger, take the initiative. You can be a part of something bigger. You can even create something bigger if you're passionate enough. If you do something with your friends, if you do something that you love, you will probably have an experience that you will never forget. It is something that I deeply wish that everyone watching this learns. And in the same way that I want more people to do unique Undone Goldens, I also want people to try and create their own events, try and create their own little stories, and try to let's just set their mark on this community in their own way, in the same way that mappers may create collabs. I want Goldeners to also collaborate and create something special too. Make this not a once in a lifetime event as we originally thought Advent was going to be. We can make things our own. We always can. So thank you so much for watching, and the mystery never ends.